My name is Carol Barber, and I have a testimony. And I just want to start with it's all about Jesus. In 2010, I was diagnosed with cancer, and it was very aggressive at the time. By the time it was discovered, it was a kind that doesn't usually show itself quickly. And so when I had the surgery and all, it turned out to be very advanced stage 3 cancer. And I've had a lot of radiation and chemo treatments and all those things, and never once did I consider the fact, why me? It was why not me? Because a long time ago, I became a child of the King. And he told me that if you do this, if you accept me, then I have control over your life, and I'm going to ask you to do some things, and you're not going to understand it, but I want you to do cancer. And so I said, okay, what do I do? And he gave me one instruction: give me glory. So that's what this is about today, is for me to be able to tell you that anything that happens in my life, it's because of him and his glory and his power and his strength and his salvation. And anything he chose to do with me is okay, because I'm his, not mine. I started the journey, like I said, in 2010. I went till 2017, and it didn't have a reoccurrence until 2017 in the fall. And it had metastasized to my bones and through my lymphatic system. And so I had to begin more treatments. I had more radiation and more chemo treatments and cyberknife surgery and all sorts of things. And when I would lay there inside those tunnels and inside masks and cages and some things that are really stressful, all I knew was it was his idea. It was him taking me on this journey. I had no business to question what he did. So he said, give me glory. I would lay there, and the machine would be going, and in my mind I'm saying names of God over and over. You are holy, you are righteous, you are majestic, you are the judge, you are the defender. And I would just name over and over the ones I could think of to praise him while I was in there. You have to be very still. There's not anyone in there with you. And so that was a great time to not just pray, but to praise his name. So I went through all of these things, and in between 2017 and now, many things happened. Because it metastasized to my bones, every 4 weeks I get a treatment. Now that's been since 2017. I get a shot in my stomach. I don't even feel it. No big deal. I get blood work done to see and to trace my cancer markers to see how I'm doing. And so I did pretty well for a long time, and then it began to spread even more. And this last fall in 2021, a lot of things happened totally everything's out of my control, but not only did I lose my doctor to some major things that happened, but the hospital closed where I was going, and I had a biopsy done that day that they announced the closing of the hospital where I'd been going for 10 years. Not only that, but I had to get a new oncologist, a new everything. So I got another doctor. They took the information from the biopsy from my original doctor and started treatments and more radiation and more chemo. And in the meantime, my new doctor decided he wanted one more biopsy done, because I know now he suspected a new kind of cancer. The biopsy was done, and 8 weeks after I had him, he left. So I got another oncologist. And this doctor finished the treatments my second doctor started. And then we did PET scans, and it did show that I had advanced triple negative metastatic breast cancer. There is no treatment and no cure. And so I said, okay, Lord, that's okay. I'm ready. It doesn't matter. So I prepared. And I went to the funeral home, and I talked to the funeral home, and I made my arrangements. It's all paid up, and talked with them about my service, and got everything ready. I had, in the meantime, in the past things that I've had done, I had made sure all of my things were in order at my house, and I'm ready. So I finished, we got the biopsy results back from the third biopsy on some lymph nodes, and it did show the triple negative. I looked it up, and Dr. Google says 12 to 18 month survival rate. So this was the third doctor. We finished the treatments, and I said, what are we going to do now? And he said, well, there's not much we can do. He said, we'll just keep doing what you've been doing. And I said, what about trials? And he said, well, let's just keep doing what we're doing. And in my head, I'm thinking, we keep doing what I'm doing, and my cancer's advancing and spreading. I don't know if I want to keep what I'm doing. So that next week, I made another phone call to a place in Northwest Arkansas where they do research. And I pressed the research button when it said, do you want where you want? And I explained to them my situation, and I said, I want to see if I qualify for trials. And they said, they asked a bunch of questions, and they got back with me in about 4 days, and I had an appointment with the head of the research department at this hospital. And so he had looked at my things when I met with him, and he said, your diagnosis is correct. And I said, well, Dr. Google says I've got 12 to 18 months, and I'm kind of in a hurry. And he said, well, Dr. Google just doesn't know everything. And I said, he doesn't? And he said, no, he doesn't. He said, I want to study your case a little bit more. So another week went by, and I went back to see him, and he had what I would say is a master plan about some new drugs. It wasn't a trial. He reminded me of that. He said, I think there's some other things that we've got new medicines out, things we can do. And he sat down with me and his nurse, and he was going through, by the way, I'd had another PET scan that day, and he was going through these 3 new medicines that I would take IV and through my port, and how it was going to affect me. And I said, do you have the results of that PET scan back? And he said, well, let me go to my office and check. I'm very curious, and I like the science part of all of this. So he said, let me go see. He left the room, and his nurse is going through the second drug that I'm going to be doing. And you know, the side effects are pages long, but they have to do that. And in a few minutes, he came back in the room, and he had his hands on his hips, and he went, I don't get it. And I said, you don't get what? And he said, I don't understand it. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, there's no sign of active cancer in your body. Now, a PET scan goes from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And I said, what are you saying to me? And he said, I have one explanation. It is a miracle from God. That's the only way I can explain this to you. Because your diagnosis is correct. You have triple negative advanced stage cancer. I have never had a patient that has gone into remission, but you are in remission. And I'm just in shock. He's in shock. He came and sat down by me, and I looked right straight in his eyes, and I said, "Give me your definition of remission." And he said, "You still have cancer, but it is not active at this point." And he said, "All of these things I've planned for you, out the window, because we're going to keep doing what you've been doing." And he said again, "It's a miracle." Now, in all of these now 11 and a half years, I have never once asked God to cure me or heal me or take it away from me. My only question was, "God, what do I do?" And he said, "Give me glory." This is absolutely all about him. It is not me. It's none of my business what he does with me. I'm a vessel. And I know that since I'm still here and I feel good and I'm trying to do, and I know he's got a plan for me, he's not going to leave me here without something to do for him. So I'm searching and I'm looking, and maybe this story is something that somebody needed to hear. There's just a few things that I want to make sure that you understand. Sometimes we ask for things we don't really need, and he knows better. And I'm so thankful I never asked him to heal me, because I might have been disappointed. I've never prayed to be healed, because some people would think, well, God didn't answer my prayer if he didn't heal you. And I know that God always answers prayer. He answers it one of three ways. He says yes, or he says no, or he says, be patient. I never asked for that. That was just something between the Lord and I. I don't know why that happened, except that this is my story. And I'm going to give him all the glory for this past journey. Now, 2020 was supposed to be the bad year, but 2021 was a really train wreck for me, I thought. 4 different oncologists within 5 months, 2 different hospitals, 3 different facilities, 2 different states. And this is where he brought me. And looking backwards, a rearview mirror is little and your front windshield's big. So if you look back too much, you're going to have a wreck. And so I am looking forward, but looking backwards, I can see God's hand in every doctor I had, in the decisions each doctor made, everything. He had it planned. I'm very comfortable with where I am now. I had more blood work done yesterday. It may come back different. I had my treatment yesterday. And it's just all okay, because my path may help somebody else. And I want, there's a thing I want you to understand. Sometimes when we ask God to bless our plans, they're not his plans. And the question should be, God, what is your plan? And then he will bless it. Get that in the right order. When you pray, when you talk, when you do. Remember who's in charge, if he's yours. The biggest miracle of all of my stuff, the biggest miracle is him dying on the cross and rising again so that I can have eternal life. My salvation is the biggest miracle he's ever performed in me.